Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a guide on how to become a Chad. So today we're going to review some of my footage of how I play, and I will go through some mistakes and some key things that you want to do when you are playing this game Tarkov to become a Chad. So we'll watch this clip and we'll see what mistake I make and what you should avoid. So here I hear a person and you will see where he is in a second.
Yeah, it's me. Did you open this door?
So you can see him right there where my mouse is. And I was pretty confident here. I saw him and I was being overconfident that I could kill him, and this is what happens when I was overconfident.
Oh. Fuck. He's a P9, dude. Back up. Oh.
So as you can see there, I ended up dying to him due to the fact that I was overconfident.
Did you open this?
Even though I could see him right there and I knew that he was there, I got overconfident and took a left-hand peek and died because of it. Now, the number one lesson is you don't want to get overconfident. You want to stay calm and assess the situation. The left-hand peek here was a very bad idea. It could have gone 50-50, but really it's more of like a 60-40. And the 40 is on my side, because in Escape from Tarkov, a left-hand peek is always going to end up worse for you than it is for the other guy. So always, stay calm and don't be overconfident like me here. This could have easily been fixed if I just pushed across and held from the other door, which would be a right-hand peek. So don't do this mistake, and that is lesson number one. Don't be overconfident. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is audio. Audio is very important in Escape from Tarkov, and you will see how I use audio to my maximum advantage, and that is what you want to do to become a Chad. So I'll turn up the volume on this clip and watch and see how I play, giving with the audio that I get information from. So I hear this guy running, right, and down the hallway over here. I hear he is running away towards the metal stairs, so I know he's pushing back, and while he's doing that, I take that time to push up here. So he already hears me here, and he starts to turn around. And now I know exactly where he is, and I also know the map. So this is also an important thing. You want to know the map and you want to have situational awareness. So I know where he is from the audio. I know that he is stuck in between the tents and there is no cover for him, and you could shoot through the tents, so that way I know that he has no cover and I can just wide peek him here and spray at him and he will have no cover, especially when I'm using BP ammo. So what should I do here? So I hear him over there, I spray, and I kill him because he has no cover and you can shoot through these tents. Now here's another part where I use audio to my advantage. So this is also another thing to know and another thing to learn if you want to become a Chad, is knowing when to pre-fire. This also ties back into audio. So watch what I do here. So I can hear him walking right here, and I know he's about to peek this corner. So as soon as I hear him and I see his laser, I start to pre-fire. And you see, I start to pre-fire, and if he pushed out or if he slow walked, I would still have enough ammo in time to readjust and end up finishing him. So what happened here is I got the jump on him, and because of that I killed him. So I pre-fired, I got the jump and killed him. Now let's watch it in quick motion. And there we go. He's dead. And you also want to take note that I was also using the right hand here. But then again, even if you're left hand picking and you're pre-firing, you should still have about the 50-50, as long as you pre-fire with audio cues like I did here. And that is the lesson. The next lesson is how to fight big groups, let's say at least like a 3-man. So watch what I do here and I'll explain along the way. So I know there's at least like 2 people that I heard, so I know that one of them is gonna peek this. So I sit here for maybe like 5 seconds and wait for him to peek. So I see him peek, take him out. And I listen to the audio. I sit here and I listen for his friend, because I know there's at least 2. And I hear his friend here, so I know he's right there. And this is where you want to be careful. So in big groups like these, you don't want to be too overconfident. So why I'm confident here is because I have a right hand peek. And because I have a right hand peek and I can hear from the audio, because I know that if there was somebody on my right, let's say, or behind me, close, I would have heard them. Because I also know the map, and like I was saying in the previous step, if you know the map and you know the audio, then you know there will be no one around you, unless the audio was bugged, which does happen. But in the best case scenario, there should be nobody around me, and just this person in front of me. So I know that I have the maximum advantage possible in terms of a close fight. So I end up picking him here. I hit him a couple times. And there's actually 2 of them here, just hard to notice. But I hit both of them a couple times and watch what happens. Now, a lot of people sometimes would make a mistake there. Instead of going back like me and, taking your time, reloading, they would spray the whole mag and end up dying because of it. So I know that I'm a little bit hurt, I don't have a lot of ammo left, and I'm pretty close to cover. So I push back. I reload, and then I know they're hit, I know they're low, and I don't want them to run away. And I am not that hurt, especially because they didn't hit any of my real vital parts too much. So I re-engaged them. And this guy, he didn't make a lot of noise, but even though I had the right hand peek on him, and he was already hurt, so take this guy out. And take this guy out. Quite easy, quite simple, and a quick lesson to take out easy groups. To take out big groups, my bad. Now, the next thing we're gonna talk about is how to play the way I play. In terms of being a Chad, how to play like a Chad. Now, this all depends on how you want to play like a Chad. There's different ways you can play like a Chad, but in my opinion, and in many other people's opinion, the real way to play like a Chad is to W key. And what that means is that you push people. You don't sit there, you don't, crouch and look around. That's not what you really do. Maybe you can crouch for a couple of seconds, but realistically, that's not your main goal. Your main goal is to push people and kill them. And that's what a real Chad does. So the way you want to build your guns and the way you want to play is completely different than how you would play normal Tarkov. So the first step is you want to decide what gun you want to use. So my best recommendation for people that are wanting to be Chads is to use automatic guns, and this is really a given. Automatic guns, for example, with higher fire rates like the HK, or an RD that has a lower fire rate but better piercing caliber. It all depends on what you want to use it for. In my opinion, the current best automatic gun for a Chad is a RD704. That being, it has very high ergonomics, it has a good, very good recoil, it has a very good fire rate, and it's a very good caliber. So realistically, You could shoot it long range, you could shoot it close range, you could shoot it point blank. Great overall gun, pierces through a lot of ammo. I mean, not ammo, my bad, armor. It's just a very great overall gun. Now, I really don't recommend using guns like, let me find it, guns like these, like an RSS or like a SR25. SA58 is okay, but these type of like DMRs and single shot guns are not what you want to use. An MDR is all right, but the problem with the MDR is you only have 20 bullets, so it's kind of like 50-50. If you get into a big fight and you're a solo Chad, it's not really ideal because you don't have a lot of more ammo to spare. And realistically, it's not going to be much more of a difference than an RD with BP ammo. Now, I personally love to use RDs, but you can't really, buy them too often because of the restock from Peacekeeper, as he has the suppressor that you need. So I would recommend stocking up on that. But in terms of guns, automatic guns, RD, make sure you're using a good caliber. Right now, 7.62 BP is the best, but M4 is also very nice if you have a lot of ammo. For M4, it's good to use. Otherwise, stick to automatic guns, don't use single shotguns. So the next step to being a Chad is knowing what to take in terms of medication and stimulators when we are talking about a raid. For example, let's say I'm playing labs and I want to push people. Now, if you have skills, for example, max strength, max endurance, or something along the lines of that, you don't need exactly, to pop SJ6 and all this. Just, pop a painkiller and you're fine. So, for example, what should I do here? I load into the raid, and as you can see, the first thing I do is I check my laser. And this is also a step you want to know and include. If you're using an automatic gun and you want to be a real WK Chad like me, then you always want to use a laser, always. This will really help in close range fights, especially lasers on the right hand, because most of the time you're going to be right hand peeking. So the laser on the right also helps you pre-fire quite well. So always make sure you have a laser on the right side and always keep laser on your automatic gun if you're going to WK. It's not exactly needed, but it's a good perk to have. Notice what I do here. I don't pop a stim, I don't do anything, I just take a painkiller. Now, the reason I don't stim is because of the spawn where I am, and I know I'm not too far from other player spawns. I'm pretty close, I have good cover, and that's once again map awareness, and also my skills are pretty high. I have max strength, level 50 endurance, so I'm pretty confident in my running ability. Now, if I had lower strength and I had lower endurance and I was, in a different maybe location, I don't know the map so well, let's say I'm on Lighthouse, I will probably pop an SJ6 in the beginning of the raid, maybe even a Melatonin if I have an extra one, and that will allow me to get an advantage over other players and I will be able to quickly push them. So I take an ibuprofen, my ammo, and then instantly me and my teammate both start pushing spawns. And that's what you want to do in these types of maps. You could also do it on other maps as well, like Lighthouse, Customs, etc. The issue is that unless you're, really trying to PvP or trying to clear out a certain area, depending on where you spawn, it's not exactly ideal to push spawns. On labs, it is ideal to push spawns because you want to clear out the players so you can, loot the rest of the rare spawns or just, get PvP. And there's quite easy spawns in labs, so it's easy to push them. Now, you don't always want to push certain spawns depending on where you spawn. It's all map awareness and knowledge, but let's say, for example, you're playing Lighthouse and you want to chat out, but you spawn, let's say, in the chalet, right? You spawn near the chalet. Instead of pushing spawns that are near the chalet, you could just run, pop an SG6, run to the chalet first, quickly loot it, and then go push other player spawns or leave. So, if you spawn, for example, at Southern Road, there is like one or two player spawns near you. So you can push those spawns and eliminate the players very quickly. And it works almost all the time, unless there's just no players that spawn there, which is also a common possibility. So just make sure to always know where you are and push players if you have a good spawn for it. And that is the lesson. Now, I talked about what type of guns you should use, but now I'm gonna talk about what type of gear and how to, live this lifestyle. So the way I play like a Chad, and the way a lot of other people, like real Chads, real WK Chads, what you want to run is depending on also what map you're gonna play. So, like I said before, automatic guns, yes, all that's correct, but also what gear. So, in terms of, let's say, playing labs, a TV-110 is honestly my favorite rig and armor to run in the game. That being, it's very lightweight, only 12 kilos, or it's probably less, like 8 kilos or something, 10 kilos. But it has a lot of space. You don't really need a backpack. You have a lot of space for ammo, meds, everything else you would need, grenades. And it's an overall cheap, very cheap rig. If you just get on, go to Ragman, do the barter, it's only 4 bleach, 2 shampoo, very cheap and affordable, especially if you live this kind of lifestyle. Also, let's talk about what to wear in terms of headgear and eyewear. So I usually like to run condors. Condors are always great. If I don't have them, if I already buy 2 of them from Proper, I don't buy anymore. It's just a perk to have. They're not required. They're nice to have, but always wear a face cover, no matter what. Always wear a face cover, unless you're running some kind of helmet that doesn't let you run. But always wear a face cover, because your head can be much more easily seen if you don't wear one. So it's a big liability to have. But the thing is, wearing helmets is a plus and a minus. So depending on how you're chatting and how you're playing, in terms of what you're doing and what map you're playing, is what you want to wear. Usually I don't wear any helmet, or maybe a U-lock, because I only play labs, so that's the way I play. But playing labs, honestly, don't wear a helmet or maybe a U-lock. There's no point to wear other helmets unless you're playing early wave. It's a waste of money really, and it just is not effective. Now, if you're playing, for example, let's say customs or something, and you're chatting out, and you have an automatic on, and there's not that many people on there with particularly the best guns, so you could afford to run like a Rys-t, because it's a more open map. You have more places to run around, and it's just more protective. So it is probably better on those types of maps. But if you're playing a map like let's say labs, like I was saying, this type of gear is the what gear you want to run, especially these new headphones. Although these headphones cost 80, 90k sometimes, they're the best headphones in the game, and I'll explain why. These headphones, although they cost this much, and it might seem like a lot, but it pays off. It really does. These headphones are the best headphones in terms of distance from sound. So with these headphones, for example, on labs, sometimes I can be in cats and I can hear people in green from cats. That's how far it is. So I can hear people very, very far away in these headphones, and it gives me very good audio. Sometimes the audio bugs on maps, desync, whatever. It's part of Tarkov, but overall, these are the best headphones, especially if you don't wear a helmet. And overall, it just trades off the pros and cons, and this is the type of gear you want to wear. Now, one of the most important things that you need to know as a chat is when to ADS and when to hipfire. Meaning, when do you want to aim and when do you want to hipfire? Now, this depends on a lot of factors, and the main factors I'm going to explain. So, uh, there's really not a easy way to explain it, but it's and in some terms it's personal preference, but I'm gonna talk about the statistic part of it. So, for example, let's say I am using an HK, and I am using this HK build. A lot of people use this build, pretty much a meta build. So, if we look at the stats on this gun, we have 0.5 ergo, which is very bad for ADSing. If a lot of people don't understand what ergonomics does in Escape from Tarkov, and understanding these stats like ergonomics, accuracy, recoil, this will help you utilize your situation and your gun to the maximum advantage, so you can become a Chad. So because I play a lot of Tarkov and I know what ergonomics means, ergonomics, really the main thing of it is how fast you're gonna aim down your scope. That's really the gist of it. So for this gun, to aim down your scope, it's gonna take a very long time, and it's most likely gonna get you killed because you went to go aim down your scope. So really, this gun is made for hipfire. Because, for example, let's say I am fighting in a closed hallway or something, I am gonna get a much easier kill and a much quicker kill and more of a percentage to kill somebody if I use a laser or a hipfire. And if you don't have a laser and you just hipfire, it's all game knowledge and game experience that you know where the bullets will hit. But by the time I scope in on somebody, there's just not going to be a point because the ergonomics is so low on the gun. The only other reason you would ever want to scope is if, for example, you are far away and your scope has some kind of magnification. If your scope has some kind of magnification, or you just feel more comfortable scoping in and you will kill someone farther away with it, then it's a little bit just. But for this type of gun, you do not want to scope in. You want to try to stick to close range fights, hip firing. Now, let's talk about a different gun, for example, an RD. Now, if I'm using an RD, and as you can see, the stats are a lot different. Although the recoil is virtually the same, and the fire rate is, it's very different, but still, the main thing here to look at is the ergonomics. So for this gun, you have 45 ergonomics, which could be a lot better, but we're sacrificing it with RK. The ergonomics is much different. So even though this gun has lower recoil and has lower, my bad, not lower recoil, it has lower fire rate, you could still kill somebody as fast with this gun as you can with this gun. The thing is, it depends on how you're using the gun. So with this gun, it's not as recommended to use your hipfire as it is with this gun, because due to the high ergonomics on this gun, it would be much easier and much more accurate for certain people and in certain situations to aim down sight rather than you using hipfire. But really, in the end, it's all gonna determine when to use hipfire in scoping in the situation and personal preference. So really, if you're close range, use your hipfire. If you're not close range and you have a decent ergonomics gun, use your scope. I personally prefer to hipfire more than I do scope, but some players, like if they're previous like CSGO pros or something, or like Valorant players, a lot of them would like to scope in a lot more. I tend to see. So it's all personal preference in the end, but in my opinion, this is the way you should use it. That is it. Now let's talk about how to keep the Chad lifestyle going. Let's say you're a Chad and you're always running gear and stuff like that, but you're not getting money. You're losing money. You're not making money. So what you can do is a couple things. One of the things is you can push rare spawns and then PvP. So for example, the way I play my lifestyle, the way I play the Chad style, is as long as I have above 1 million rubles, and as long as I have, enough ammo and stuff like that, I will always W key. I will not play it slow, I will not play tactical, I will always W key. Now, if I'm below, let's say, 1 million or something, if I'm at like 800k, whatever, maybe I'll play a little bit slower. But if I'm, down bad, maybe what I would do sometimes, and what you should do is, if you're down bad and you want to get money and you want to keep the Chad lifestyle, don't go down like a rat. Get it, become a Chad. And for example, if I'm playing labs, right, and I spawn at parking, okay, I automatically know there's a couple rare spawns near me. So what I do is I push the rare spawn. I'll push the rare spawn at parking. I'll push the rare spawn at the what's it called, below office. I'll push the rare spawn at cats, and I'll check these rare spawns, and I'll get, like a LEDX or this or that, and I'll put it in my butt, and I'll, check all the other rare spawns near me. And let's say there's a player, I hear a player in my kitchen, and I have a LEDX on me, or I have a good item, and maybe I'm down bad. Then I'll just play it a bit slower. Don't just go and push, go mayhem on him. Just play a bit slower, play a bit tactical, listen to your sound, avoid bad, overconfident fights. Left hand peeks, don't do it. Right hand peek, wait for the right hand peek, wait for the right moment. Play around, run around, loop around until you get the right moment, and you have a better chance at winning a fight. Sometimes there's things like desync or third parties. Shit happens, but most of the time you're gonna get out and you're gonna live, unless you're just absolute dog shit. Then chatting is not for you. But that is my advice. And to the people that say that this method does not work, blah blah blah, this method is not for everybody. But if you can perfect this method, then you can be like me. Like, look, I have 6 million, I have a ton of BP, I have a ton of loot, I have a ton of items cases, full of shit, full of shit. All of these full of guns, everything, all of these full of shit. Look at all this, full of shit. All these LEDXs, and this is all from a Chad lifestyle. I've seen people try the same thing like me. They went from 90 mil to 0 mil. It's not for everybody, and I am warning that. As long as you practice it, and as long as you can maintain this type of lifestyle, you will become a real Chad, and you will become a good player. And that's all I have to recommend to become a Chad. Good luck, my fellow rats, and Godspeed to my fellow Chads.